Hey guys, James MCD here, and today I'm talking about Exposed, the new adult thriller coming to Tubi on October 28th, and I'm delighted to be joined by the writer-director Durden Godfrey and the star Cecily Monat. Jay, how's it going, guys?
It's going great. Thank you for having us, James.
Thank you so much for being here. So obviously we're here to talk about Exposed, but I also, Durden, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about sort of this recent wave of content that you've been putting out. So for anyone who doesn't know the timeline, so 2018 you released I'm Gonna Kill Someone This Friday, and then the pandemic hit, and you and Royal started TTFT, which ran until about March of 2023, and then you guys did Far From the Tree, and then from that point on, it felt like you were just kind of on a wave of consistency with putting out new features. You released three of your own features that you wrote and directed. You had a hand in other people's projects. You did a bunch of shorts and specials. You also recently talked about I guess sort of a new production system that made kind of that sort of consistency a little bit easier to manage. So talk a little bit about what the tipping point was getting back into making features consistently, and how has that new production system and strategy helped with that?
Oh man, you're picking a very interesting time to ask this question to speak about the the efficiency of these productions because we are in the thick of one right now, and oh my god, I'm questioning everything. But okay, let me get in the mindset. One correction: we're still doing TTFT, we're just not doing it consistently. Which hats off to you, sir. Because I know you've been doing your review channel longer and more consistently, and by yourself. So hats off to you because I know how much work it is to keep the content coming, and you don't always feel like doing it, I'm sure,
Yeah,
but
I
the
appreciate it.
audience is waiting.
This
Um,
year I challenged myself to do two videos a week, and the September especially, I was just like, I can't. I need an extra month to rest and
it's
recuperate.
important. Yeah, you got to do that. That's why we're TTFT is still a home with the door unlocked that we go to with zero obligation. It feels really good to do that. It's like the audience will be there when we put something out. If they're not, whatever. It is for us. But anyways, that's besides the point. So with the movies, Far From the Tree was not. I wouldn't really put Far From the Tree with this girth of movies that has come out. Far From the Tree was something entirely different. It was just I wanted to try this thing with having a known celebrity in the movie, see if that would sell. That was kind of its own separate thing. And when that didn't pan out the way, because when we did Kill, I was told that it would be purchased. It would easily be purchased if we had a recognizable name or face on it. So I took that information and I did Far From the Tree. We got Lila Robbins involved with it, who I grew up watching. A lot of people knew from The Boys and Homeland and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, we got a name in the movie. Maybe we could sell this one. And that didn't pan out. So right around that time, Chad Hendricks, who does a lot of deals with Maverick, he had released a film through indie film rights, and with indie film rights, they kind of put all of the numbers out there for everybody to see when the reports come in on the earnings that the films have under their umbrella. So you could see not just the what your movie was making, but all of the movies, including the top 20 earners. And he showed me this list, and I just noticed a few running themes in the top 20 earners. It was they were coming from Tubi, where most of the money was generating from. They were urban films, and they had equal parts sex, violence, and just a heavy drama. Water cooler talk, so water cooler type of discussions could happen from these movies. The number one movie had a girl eating out of another girl's ass in a club scene, and I'm like, okay, that's what they want. Let's go. So, and I saw the money that these top 20 earners were making were like $250,000 a year or more. Um, so I thought like, okay, we do these films that give them exactly what they want. But mind you, my whole career in filmmaking has been, in large part, in a fight with the audience. Like, oh, you want this? I'm going to give you this instead. And I don't know why. It's been counterproductive. It's my uh, oppositional personality complex, I guess. I see people going this way. My natural thought is to go this way. And then I thought, like, look how much money these movies are making when they give the audience what they want. This is a clear blueprint. This is what the audience wants. This is what's selling. How about we just try doing that for a little bit? But also, I knew these movies weren't going to be like something, because I am giving the audience what they want. They're not passion projects for me. They're like me caving to essentially like getting a job with a studio and having to follow their notes and their direction. It's essentially that, except the audience and this blueprint of these top 20 movies. That's the studio. That's the direction that I'm having to adhere to. So these aren't passion projects. So I don't want to spend too much time on them. And I also don't want to take too much time from the people that are involved with them, just in case they don't succeed. We at least didn't invest that much, as far as time and energy. So it's like, how can we create these films that emulate these top 20 movies? How can we do those in a way that the original plan was to get them done in 72 hours? Fucking ridiculous. And then it's like, okay, let's just do like 4 or 5 days on them. And Yeah, we did Black Game Night, Hit List, Devil Came to Duval, Exposed, and Early Christmas. And it worked to a degree. It's going very well. Every one of the films have sold to Maverick, and the way it's panning out, it looks like it'll be, Maverick has a deal where they invest a certain amount of money into the advertising. That money has to be recouped by them before they start paying out to the filmmaker. And what it's looking like is that we'll probably start seeing funds for the movies about a year and a half to 2 years after they release. It's exciting because worst case scenario, we'll start seeing money in 1 to 2 years. Best case scenario, one of these, like I'm hoping for Exposed, just kind of like any one of them can pop off overnight, and then people start going back and looking at the other ones. So at the end of the day, we're just trying to build a retirement plan, quickly and efficiently. Um, yeah, I think I forget what the rest of the questions were, but I hope that I feel like I
No,
talked long enough at this point.
no, it was interesting. I know you talked about like wanting to like I guess like maximize the time spent on the production. And I will say, like, just from the outside looking in, the gap between them like being announced and then coming out felt very short, even if it didn't like seem like it.
Hmm.
I know you said that these weren't necessarily passion projects, but was that ever something that like crossed your mind, like either like not just in terms of the projects themselves and giving them room to breathe, but also just, like your own like health and everything like that?
The health, well, the health was, I was forced to reckon with, because I think it was after Hit List, right after writing Devil Came to Duval. Uh, I ended up in the hospital, had a bad just just stuff that felt very serious, might not be too bad, still kind of navigating that. But it put me in the hospital for a week. And I think what ultimately put me in the hospital was just exhaustion and not giving my body time to heal or recoup between these things. And I really did not want to die with my last film being The Devil Came to Duval, because my mom, who is a diehard Christian, would have just had a field day with that. Like, you see, I always told them not to mess around with the devil, and now look, he's going to make a movie about the devil coming to Duval, and God wouldn't let him do it. He ended up
So
in the
your
hospital and died, so I had to get out of the hospital. I had to make that movie. But
so your last movie is going to be a Pure Flix movie.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, hey, if the money's there, praise God. And also, on the passion project note, these were not meant to be passion projects, but I do want to clarify that as soon as I start writing something, whether I want it to be a passion project or not, I start getting precious about it. Whether against all of my efforts, it's like it becomes very important to me. I don't, somebody when we were interviewing with TTFT, they said, no filmmaker sets out to make something bad, and that's always the case. Like I might be setting my reservations or setting my preferences aside as far as like I'd want to do it this way, and more so just trying to be mature about it and think what would the audience want, what would be more marketable. Like, so I'm making decisions like that, but at the end of the day, it's still something I still end up very passionate about these things. So but yeah, it's been a learning experience throughout. Like, we hit the ground running very, very hard, and over the course of the last year and a half of doing these projects, it's been like, maybe let's just take a step back a little bit. Maybe let's not do one every month. Let's do it every other month. Maybe let's just take 3 or 4 months off. Like, and it also helps now that we have a little bit of a cushion now. Like, we've got a handful of films out there in the last year and a half. Most filmmakers don't get one film out every 2 years, 3 years if they're happy. So it's like, stop like expecting so much of yourself. Give yourself a little bit of a break. And so it's been personal growth too, throughout this process of like being a little bit easier on yourself and the expectations you put on yourself and others.
Right. And the passion projects thing, that wasn't meant to be like a slight on you, because I can also tell, I feel like audiences can tell like when a director like does care about someone, and when they're actually putting effort into something they're making. And I
Yeah,
can
no, I,
definitely
I
see
didn't.
that
I
in
didn't
you.
take it as a slight. I just don't want anybody that's watching this to think like, oh, he's just putting dribble out there. He doesn't care about it. Now, I deeply care about these things. I just have to put some kind of barrier between that passion and the end result, so that I don't sabotage myself and do things in spite of the audience instead of for them.
Were these, I know you said like a lot of this was motivated by, like, semi motivated by what what the audience like expects, or versus like what you wanted to make, and like vice versa. Were all these like the stories, were all these ideas things that you've had in the back of your head for a while and that you wanted to get out now, or did they all just come to you all at once?
None of these stories existed before, a month or two before writing, and they all kind of come from like there's been a transformation in the specifically the landscape at Tubi of what they're looking for. So what got us into this was sex and violence, and ironically, right before we did Exposed, uh,
Yep.
Exposed was in pre-production, and Devil Came to Duval was going through the process of distribution deliverables, and they started getting real nervous about some of the sexual content. And I'm thinking like, oh, well, if you're nervous about those few scenes in Devil Came to Duval, what's going to happen with Exposed? And um, so it's been
It's close.
there's been a little bit of a evolution there of like staying in contact with the distributor, communicating with them about and them also like being forefront with me about this is the direction that the platforms are going, this is the kind of stuff they're looking for, which is why we took a hard pivot from Exposed to An Early Christmas, from a erotic thriller to a family Christmas comedy, was purely because in the midst of Devil Came to Duval and Exposed, everything kind of changed with Tubi. I'm guessing
It
trying to
shifts.
better align themselves to be picked up by Disney. Um,
Why would they
so
want to do that?
it's, you either cave to the mouse or you die. That's in entertainment. I think that's within 10 years, everything is going to be Disney. Fuck them, man.
Yeah.
But they're killing the industry. They're killing the creative juice. They're sucking us dry. It's just, yeah. Anyways, besides the point.
Anyway,
So
yeah.
yeah, all these projects kind of that I try to do them right, like close to as present as possible, so that they align with whatever the platforms are looking for.
With Hit List, Devil Came to Duval, and Exposed, which was the most challenging to write, and which was the most challenging to film?
Hit List was definitely the easiest. Hit List came it just came so easy. It was just so fun, and the idea was just so kind of over the top and wild that it was just like it just seemed to just happen. Production and the writing or the conceptual part of it. The hardest one to write was probably The Devil Came to Duval. Um, because it was trying to do these elaborate death scenes in that are like inspired by like the Nightmare on Elm Streets I grew up on, with no budget and as little time as possible taken. So it was like creatively trying to come up with things in the writing process of like reverse engineering. All right, these are the things in my toolbox that I know how to do. These are like things that could be done practically, quickly, affordably. How can I incorporate these things into death scenes throughout the movie to keep it interesting? And I think Cecily will agree with me when I'd say that the most challenging one to shoot. I mean, The Devil Came to Duval had its challenges because we were out in the elements. We were downtown. You're kind of you have to deal with whatever's happening out there at the time, weather, noise, just general downtown rumble. But Exposed was really trying, and I'm sure Cecily agrees with that. Just Exposed. I mean, Cecily, I'll let you go into the challenges because I know that first after the first night you had a situation. I don't know if you want to go into that or
Oh,
not and put that out there, but
yeah, absolutely. So Exposed was probably the hardest to probably shoot. With all of the different elements. That weekend, I was sick as shit. I was very ill that whole weekend. I ended up at the hospital,
I mean, just
and
say
then
it
like
like
in
it is,
between,
Cecily. You masturbated yourself right into the hospital.
I did. I
Just say
masturbated
it as
myself
it happened.
right in the hospital, like just multiple orgasms, just explosive, and I just
Depleted.
couldn't take it anymore. And I couldn't take it anymore.
I have broken
It was
hand.
really cold that weekend. Um, and the house is beautiful. The house is so beautiful, but we had to cut off the AC for audio, so the house is like freezing. So mind you, me and Claire, my gosh, shout out to Claire, she's a trooper. We were freezing in between takes, and mind you, we are exposed. And so we would have to
Right.
like get the blankets in between takes, take a five, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, warm up, and then get back to filming. And just kind of like really, it was a mental gymnastic kind of thing going on because we had to literally not think of the cold and get these lines. And that was one of the Exposed was one of the most challenging movies for me. The fact that I'm exposed, I'm vulnerable, I'm sick, but it was a great reward because I'm like, wow, this turned out really really good. And we actually got done really really quickly with some of the scenes. We finished up early on a couple of scenes. um Thankfully we didn't have to do a whole lot of locations for this one. But it was beautiful. Like I'm really proud of this film. I really am. I really really am, but definitely challenging.
The challenge for me with Exposed, it was really hard for me too, Cecily.
Oh yeah,
No,
it's very
but
hard.
there was because just to give you a little context for most of that, a majority of that production, it was me, my wife Angela, and Cecily in a room, and one of us is naked. And it wa- and there were a few occasions where I thought to myself like, "What am I doing here? Like, what's happening? Like, is this right? Should we? Is this like?" Because I like there
Everybody
was
got
like the
comfortable
first
by
two
the end of the
nights, it
film.
was just all right. You're doing yourself. Okay, now you're doing the pillow. Okay, now you're doing the wall. Okay, now you're doing Ronnie. It's like, and it's like all those scenes were kind of shot in collection together. So there was many moments was like, where's the plot in this? Where is there any dialogue? Like that, what did I do? But then of course it all comes together. But there were moments, and it also was like projecting. It was like, is Cecily comfortable? Is Claire comfortable? Do they think that I'm a creep? Is it weird that it's just I had my wife there shooting, so it was like it created an environment of like feeling safe, and it also it protects me, it protects them. But then there were times where I'm thinking like, are they thinking that like my wife and I are into like weird shit where we get off on this or something? Like it was a lot of projecting. It was a lot of like being in my head about certain things.
The thing was, I never thought any of that. I never thought anything weird. Like whatever, I
Well,
guess
thank
whatever
you.
you were thinking in your head, I didn't think anything weird. I was like, okay, we're here to do a job. And me and Claire just laughed the whole time. Like it was just, hey, I meet you for the first
Well,
time and we're like, we're naked.
from a technical standpoint, it was especially challenging, unlike in a way that no other movie that I've done has been, is because if you notice, for the most part, nobody interacts with another character, with the exception of like when they're in that room with like Claire and Cecily.
Mm,
Nobody really interacts with the other person in real time. So like whenever Cecily's talking to Jason or Cecily's talking to Dominic or vice versa, those conversations are happening days apart. So the thing had to be shot listed really, really intricately so that like I know that it's looking at Cecily from a profile when she's talking to Dominic this way, and then when it cuts to Dominic 3 days later or whatever, it's looking at him from the same direction, and they're responding to each other. Like we had to get the dialogue exactly right so that the conversations that's being recorded days apart from each other, they all match up. And most of the things, Cecily is in conversation with Jason, and they never really saw each other until the end
right.
of the production.
I was very lonely.
I couldn't tell when I was watching it that you were sick. Like everything just seemed so like I guess natural. So you guys fucking
Aww.
crushed it. And uh for like going back to Devil Came to Duval, I know this is promo for a completely different movie, but if you haven't seen Devil Came to Duval, it is so much fun, and Cecily is fantastic as the devil. You've been crushing it in all of these. Um how did you first get involved with Toilet on the Roof and with Durden?
It was Chad, right?
Oh, interesting. Chad, yeah. So I had auditioned for Chad's movie. What was it? Was it Bloody Freaking Mary? I think it was. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
auditioned for that movie, and I didn't get that role. And he told me he felt so bad he wasn't able to cast me, but it was fine. So that was like maybe a year and a half prior, and he gave me a call. This is I guess 2 years later now, and he gave me a call. He was like, "Hey, I have a group of friends that are getting ready to film this weekend. I think you'd be great." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm ready. And this was for Black Game Night. And that's how I got introduced to Toilet on the Roof Productions, and it's been great. I'm so thankful for the opportunity. I really am. And previously, before then, I had done some work on other projects and things like that. But I am I feel so loved. It's like a beautiful cult. I like to say of just creative minds, and
I'll
we
take
all
that.
work
I'll
together.
take
It's like
that.
a big
Angela calls me
family.
she says that has cult leader energy.
It's a beautiful family. Like I love it. I can't wait.
If these movies don't pop off, we're all gonna get together and drink Kool-Aid.
Actually, in terms of the casting process, were you aware that you were going to be in all three of these like so close to each other, or did you just kind of go like from hit list, like start at hit list and then see where it goes from there?
The day that we wrapped for Black Game Night, David had made a big announcement about the next movie that he was getting ready to do. And this was maybe like day 3 of me knowing David. And I was like, oh man, that's so cool. Congratulations. I was like, if you need me for like your next film, like I will be honored. And he was like, sure, you got it. You show up on time, you're punctual, you're this, do that. And I was like, oh really? And I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready. And so the chemistry that Dominique and I had in the previous movie, it kind of worked well for uh, Durden's movie for the hit list, and so it kind of went off there. It was great. I cannot lie. It was great.
Yeah, it's always been a conversation after the hit list. It was like, "Hey, how would you feel about playing a devil?" And then it's like, "Hey, how would you feel about would you be okay with being naked for a whole movie?" And I can't thank Cecily enough too, because I can't think of a single other actress that would have said, "Yeah, I trust you enough to do this," and actually do it. Like, I think it would have been pulling teeth with, many other actresses to just be like, "No, it's called exposed. You're nude on a live stream, and, well, can I just have" No, it's exposed, but it was, like, the trust that I can't thank you enough, Cecily, for the trust that you put in me to do that, because I know it had to be a very vulnerable, place to be, to perform literally naked.
It was. I think the most challenging part for me was the cold.
I'd forgotten that like these were. I mean, even though it's still Florida, it's still like you guys are inside most of the time. So I didn't even think about the cold.
I'll let you know on the scenes that we shot, that when they come outside the house and they're still, like, just in their they're still, like, what do you just have, like, a robe on and nude underneath? That I was completely
Twice.
bundled up
We went
during
outside
those
twice.
scenes. I was in a long sleeve shirt, a jacket, a beanie. There was no solidarity there. I was like, "Look, I need to stay healthy to get this thing edited. I gotta protect myself here. I don't have to be naked."
Right. Yet.
Yeah.
What for since we're talking about exposed, where did the idea for the movie come from, Durden?
Honestly, it was, how can we lean 100% into this sexual content that Tubi is looking for? How can we do a movie that is it was, again, reverse engineering. It was like, they're I wanna do one location, so I'm gonna trap a girl in a house, and, nudity is important, so she's going to be nude. How do we make those things happen? And then it just kind of grew from there, of, like, you know, it's like, okay, a guy holds her hostage on his stream. All right, but why would she stay there? He's not physically there holding her hostage. Okay, she has a kid. The kid is being held hostage physically. That pretty much. And once that key was made, it was like, oh, she'll do anything now. Like, he's got her kid now. Like, the handcuffs are off. Like, we're off to the races, and then it just kind of spawned from there. Like, what, and I really didn't figure out exactly what she did to warrant all of this happening, and the twist at the end. That really didn't come until about halfway through. A portion of it, I went into it knowing, like, she cheated, but then as the story evolved a little bit, it's like, oh man, what if the sister? What if something happened there? And it just kind of grew from there. But it all literally came from, it'd be really cool if we didn't have to move locations at all, and it was just nudity, just blatant nudity through the whole movie. I like the erotic thrillers in the 90s, like Sliver, Basic Instinct, 9.5 Weeks. Those movies that were like, for teenagers, you couldn't go into the back room. Nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about right now. But back in the day at rental stores, you had the normal movies out here that you could peruse with your family. And then there was those erotic beads that hung in the back. And you can go through those beads, and that's where the magic was. But movies like Sliver and 9.5 Weeks and Disclosure, these movies were thinly veiled pornographies with a plot. So they could be out where you could peruse with your family, and, like, hey, mom, you like Michael Douglas, you like Demi Moore. This can't be. And then, that's.
Just cover the
So I grew
eyes.
up on that stuff. So yeah, so it's like, if we could come, I wanted to do something like that, where it's like you get all the goods, but you get, like, a really good
The worry.
story and a compelling plot
Yeah.
too.
And then for Cecily, what attracted you the most to Exposed?
It was sexy, and I will add the fact that I had to put some realism into it. The fact that I know that she's somewhat of like a OnlyFans kind of girl. The essence from that being that have also been a phone actress, like the girl six kind of thing.
Okay.
So that kind of played into me helping prepare for the role. Yeah. So as far as the essence of both of those worlds like coming together, I just thought that it was like it was hot. You know, like it was a hot, like sexy role. It kind of reminded me of variations of a lot of things that I was just like, oh, this is like really cool. Um, like her being like, happy, that she's in this happy marriage, she's still making money, her husband approves of her, doing this kind of work to help take care of their family, to her like holding on to like this deep dark secret that only her and her best friend know, and it just keeps spiraling. And I like the fact that we get to see Mia in all these different forms, mother, she's seductive, she's sexy, she has these guys drooling over her. And I don't know. I just thought it would be pretty hot to play. Different. A lot different from, anything else that I've ever played. And challenging as well. With a hint of Monsters Ball a little bit too.
Sorry, you're gonna have to give me like 45 seconds. I'm still thinking about Monsters Ball.
Oh.
All right, I am good now.
No,
All
you're
right, we
good.
can go.
You guys kind of like earlier. You talked a lot about the challenging aspects of making the movie. Was there anything else that like Durden that stuck out to you that was like challenging about the process?
No, I mean it was a pretty smooth shoot. It was nice not having to move locations. It was when we had like, the casting for Claire's part was very challenging. It was very like it goes back to like Seseley being so brave to take on this role. It speaks to that in how challenging it was to find another female to just be in that role, that smaller supporting role alongside of her, doing a fraction of the things that Seseley was asked to do. Um, to find a second person that was willing to do that, we went through a few different people that didn't pan out, and there was a lot of actresses that were interested, and then I explained to them exactly what was going to be happening, and they were like, yeah, no, I'm going to sit this one out, or like, I'm actually trying to get back in the church. Like, it would just be like, you know, they didn't want to, like, I love what you're doing, I like the story, I like the concept, just not for me. I'm not going to be on the other end of that cucumber. And so that was one of the most challenging aspects of it, aside from the different things we talked about. And
I forgot
Claire
about that.
was a
I
trooper. I
forgot
mean,
about
she came out and she killed it. That scene was very it was surprisingly lighthearted to shoot. It was, there was actually a few laughs during that scene where some fingers ended up in the wrong places, or you know, uh, and we had to take a moment and be like, hey, all right, we're all laughing right now, but everybody feels safe. Nobody feels, any other way but safe and okay right now. Just there was multiple times where I had to take a beat and just, all right, let's just take a second. Everybody good? Okay, back to cucumbering. And that casting that part was difficult though. I think it worked out so nicely though, because Claire is as white gets, and that contrast. I love yin yang. I love
Yin and
playing
Yang.
with like both sides of like the spectrum of things and mashing them together. And yeah, it created a really beautiful visual. Just black and white people coming
And I
together.
gained a
It's all
friend. I
about,
gained a
that's what
really
it's
good
all about at the end of the day. If there's two things you could take from Exposed is unity and eat your vegetables.
I was gonna ask Cecily with you and Claire what that dynamic was like on set. How like did you make each other feel comfortable during some of those scenes?
Absolutely. It's like when we first met, it was like instantaneously like, oh, hey, bestie, like, you're nude. Oh, look at that. Oh, I like your tattoo. Oh, girl, cover right here. Oh, we're going to do this. We were helping each other like create the most beautiful, beautiful atmosphere for us both. And it it was never a moment where I felt uncomfortable with her. I felt like this was my sister, you know? Like I adore Claire. Like the energy, I couldn't have asked for a better person to like really do this particular movie with. Like we made each other feel so comfortable. Like this is my sister. You know? It really is. And I love her to fullest. Like she's sweet. Like I it was perfect. So everybody else that wasn't able to do the movie, it was for a reason. The role was meant for her. It really was.
Yeah, and like I said, you both crushed it. You guys were so great together. It sounded like from what you were describing, it sounded like
Thank
it
you.
was kind of lighthearted, even though it was the onset environment was kind of lighthearted. But was there anything like that stuck out as like kind of stressful, or that was like, I guess, like physically or emotionally demanding, where you were just kind of like, oh, just got to get through this, just got to get through this?
Oh yeah, because we started getting into like the wee hours of the morning. I know like the last scene, the most challenging scene, like we were pushing towards the very end. I don't know if it was night 2 or night 3. I don't remember. But we were trying to do the absolute ending scene when everybody is like being, shot. We were going into like the wee hours of the morning, and mind you, I am on literally past E, and it was freezing, and everybody was trying to make sure we blocked it, and we got this angle, that angle. Okay, we can do this a little bit better. That night really, really pushed me. It was like almost 2 or 3 in the morning because I remember Dominique got there. I think it was like at midnight, and yeah, that was one of the most challenging. Like the very ending scene when everybody just kind of, you know, so that was hard.
Yeah,
That night really pushed us to make sure that everybody kind of died correctly.
to give a little context to that, we shot this in a Airbnb, so it was essentially like if we don't get this in this weekend, the budget doubles. We'll have to get the Airbnb a whole other weekend, and I really didn't want to do that. So that Exposed was truly shot in, I think it was 4 days. It was 3 days at the Airbnb and then 1 day of shooting outside of the Airbnb. So it was that last night of shooting was pretty hectic because it was like we have till 6 a.m. to get out of here. We just got to make this happen.
You did, Durden, you brought this up a little bit earlier, but with how like sexually explicit the movie is, like, what was it? What was it like for you as a director? I guess kind of navigating a set like that.
It was easy because it was like I said, it was just Cecily and me and my wife for the majority of the time, and we just the tone was set early on. Like, this is what it's going to be, and it's crazy how quickly you get used to, like, Cecily might as well had clothes on the whole time. But like after the first 30 minutes of like, okay, you're undressed now, it's like I guarantee if we all collectively as a society just decided, hey, we're gonna global warming's getting a little out of hand. The price of clothing is getting a little out of hand. We got better things to spend our money on. If we all just collectively decided like we're just gonna just start going nude, within a week it would just be completely normalized. You wouldn't even notice a dick, or you just wouldn't notice these things. So it was really comfortable. But I did come to my mind the challenge is there was the greatest challenge for Exposed became post production, because like I said, with the landscape kind of changed between Double Came to Duval and Exposed, and it had the first cut of Exposed. The cucumber scene was like 6-7 minutes long. The masturbation scene was like 3-4 minutes long, and they came back. They're like, I think we get the point of what's happening with the cucumber after about 30-45 seconds.
Like, we've all seen Requiem for a Dream. We know what's happening.
Like, but I'm trying to sell the cringeness of it. Like, I want the audience to feel the way she's feeling. Like, this has gone on too long. Like, I don't want it to just be a blink and you'll miss it type of thing. So it was a lot of back and forth with the with the distributor of like I'm literally like 22 minutes ended up being cut out of the movie in total, but those 22 minutes were reached 1 minute at a time. I was like, is this enough now? No, more. Like, how about now? Is this enough? No, we need less. We see a little bit of this here, we see a little bit of that there, that needs to go. I'm like, all right, how about now? And I inched my way because I didn't want to take out 1 second for two reasons. I wanted it all to be there because I wanted it to make the splash, because the distributor may want this, but now I'm on the side with the audience, where I was opposed to the audience and in opposition to them most of my career. Now I'm with the audience. Like, dude, you don't understand. The audience wants to see this. Why are you trying to take this away from them? But they're looking at, like, the advertisers don't want to put a commercial for Kleenex 3 minutes into two girls doubling down on a cucumber. They just don't want to do that. So we have to. It was trying to find that like happy medium of like what's still going to get the audience talking, what's going to get the advertisers comfortable with, putting their commercial in between this movie. So it was like it was inching to that and James, it's every time you make a change, it might be a 1 minute change, but it's still a 2 hour render. So it was, make a little bit of a change, render it out, send it back, wait a day for the response. Nope, take this out, and then repeat, rinse and repeat 6-7 times until we finally get to the 22 minutes being taken out. But Old Dirty is going to get the last laugh because I still have the director's cut sitting on a Google Drive, and the contract with Maverick extends to a certain period of time. Hopefully, it catches some waves while it's out there under Maverick, and then once it comes back to me, be like, here's my Cash App, here's my Venmo, here's a Google Drive link to those extra 22 saucy minutes that you missed.
The cucumber edition.
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of the audience, how important was the inclusion of as you call it, the watchers, like sort of me as subscribers in the movie, and showing their point of view?
That came from the Truman Show, and like, movies like the Truman Show or Deep Impact or Armageddon, or those movies where like it always cuts, you establish these like group of characters that are watching the movie with you essentially. I always like that in movies, and I just thought that this one was a good opportunity to incorporate that element. And um I also I feel a certain obligation to people that I've worked with previously that show up, do the job, take it seriously. I feel an obligation to them to always give them something in the next movie. So when we were doing this one, I knew it was going to be a very small cast because it was supposed to be. But then it kind of hit me like, okay, well, I can incorporate other people in it in this way. And I've always wanted to do that kind of thing throughout a movie, so it just worked out like that.
How much of like those scenes with the watchers, how much of that was like scripted and how much was improv?
All of it was 100% scripted. The shot list for this movie looks like a serial killer put it together. It is so meticulous. It's like this person does this from this angle, this person says this person reacts from this angle. It's down to the watcher's reactions, because and a lot of it was built like, all the stuff in front of Jason, that's all green screen. All those monitors are put on there in post. And with the watchers, it was just like I had like a list of, you're reacting to her doing this, you're reacting to her doing this, now I need a reaction to Jason storming in the room, or I just wanted to make sure I had enough coverage of all that. The most uncomfortable one, though, was asking at the end of every watcher segment, it was like, all right, now get off. Like, I saw so many different O faces that you never, what do they call them? They call, in the show, The League, they said they call them vinegar strokes. And it's like, you don't ever want to see somebody's vinegar strokes unless you're also vinegar stroking, because then you just see it like this and you can't really get a full. But if you just watch somebody and you're not also in that headspace and you're just watching somebody, it's like, oh man, we look like animals. Like, you
Yeah.
just don't want to see it when you're not in it. And yeah, that, so it was awkward. Like, yeah, you're all right, you're reacting to her getting off, you're reacting to him coming in. All right, now come. Action.
So all of Royal's bishop character, that was all in the scripts. The come to the altar.
Yes. Yep, that was scripted.
That was incredible. The other one that killed me, well, the haircut. How long did the haircut take?
Oh, that's right, Bernard. Yeah, that's the longest haircut ever. Well, because the barber is he's paying attention. Now that part, I will give credit to Bernard, who played the dude getting his haircut, because it was written for him to be just as into it as the barber. But as we're shooting it, he's like he started playing it like he's not really into this. He just wants to get his haircut. And I thought that was so hilarious. Like, his little nuances when he's like uh, and trying to get the barber's attention, not giving a shit about this girl on the screen. I thought that played really funny. But yeah, that was the easily the longest haircut ever. But you see that shit in like the Truman Show. It's like how they've been drinking that same beer at the bar. They're not they've been drinking for like 4 days at this bar watching Truman, and they're not plastered. That
Mhm.
doesn't make, but you forgive those types of things.
Yeah, that one killed me.
Mhm.
Royal and Queen Melina, that killed me, and then Angela with the popcorn though.
That
That
was all her. That was
that was
not
funny.
scripted. She was like, "You got the camera set up. Let me sit down real quick and do the Michael Jackson." I'm like, "All right."
This is something for both of you can answer this. Uh, in the Valentine's stream, Emma from Emma Everywhere said you learn something new from every single set that you're on. What is something that both of you have learned, not just from this movie, but from Hit List and Devil Came to Duval, uh, that you want to take into like your next projects?
More patience. More patience, more I would say, yeah, definitely more patience with myself, I would say. Um and each character, I want to dig a little more deeper, do a little something more profound, more just kind of, each time I'm actually into a character, I definitely want to take the patience with myself to, you know maybe dig deeper into my character, is what I'm learning, as each role has its own, you know its own different characteristics, so to speak. Because I know in the latest film that we're in production with right now, it was different as well. And I love the explore part of being able to learn each new character as well, and just having patience of, with myself, like, it's gonna be good. So for me, it's patience, to be honest.
I'm gonna piggyback on what Cecily said, but use a different word, and it's in the same family as patience. But what I try to get better at with every project is grace. I get very, very analytical and technical, and I get into the numbers of the schedule, and everything becomes about the time, and the time we have, and the time we have left, and the scenes that we have to complete. And as I'm going through, like, pre-production really dehumanizes the cast for me. They become a series of ones and zeros and times. And and then and when we're in production, and I set impossible standards, I think, when it comes to the schedule, and I expect people uh to just live up to those impossible standards. And when they fall short, I get my knee-jerk reaction is to get very frustrated. Like, why are you personally trying to sabotage this thing? Do you realize how hard I've worked to get to this point where we're shooting, and now you show up, you're trying to sabotage this? What a piece of shit. Uh, I have to really like exercise, like bring back the humanity to it and exercise grace and remind myself that what everybody involved are sacrificing to be there, the risks they're taking, the trust that they're putting in me, and the fact that they're there, even if they're 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late. If they're 30 minutes late, go fuck yourself. But if 5 to 10 minutes late, um they don't know their lines like the back of their hand. Okay, we all have lives, we all have things going on. I'm just happy you're here this weekend with me to get these lines now. Just little things like that, just reminding myself, because every production, and knock on wood, we're halfway through the production for Don't Push That, and I haven't had to do this, but every production prior, there's been at least one evening where I had to go home, and once the heat has calmed down a little bit, I think back of something that I said or a way. It always ends up being, hey, um, I meant what I said. I apologize for how I said it. And I'm trying to make it through an entire production with not having to say those words. And so far so good on this one. But that's been my challenge. That's been where I try to uh, that's something that I recognize a fault in myself that I try to address a little bit more each one.
And then speaking of next projects, what's next for you guys? I know you talked about an early Christmas, which I think is November, and then obviously you talked about Don't Push That. When can we expect those? And then what else have you got in the pipeline?
Early Christmas is we're doing a Jacksonville premiere early Christmas, November 3rd, Monday, and then it releases everywhere streaming November 4th. Really excited about that. I shot a movie for Ronnie called I Need the Smoke. It's a comedy, kind of like in the style of Harold and Kumar. That'll be edited. We're shooting to have that released in 420, of course, 2026. I also helped Royal and Dominic. Royal has a film called An Intervention that's more of like a heavy drama that I helped him shoot. He's currently editing that. He doesn't go as fast as me. Nobody goes as fast as me. They say that I might be the best editor. That's what they're saying, but he goes fast, but not as fast as me. He'll get that. That's probably going to be within the next year or so. And Dominic's film, Smash and Assassin, is like a comedy, kind of in the vein of like it could be the Hit List, Weird Cousin. Royal's also editing that for him. I'm going to come in on the back end and punch that up a little bit. Those two films should be coming out in the next year. Don't Push That is we're shooting for a 2026 summer release for that. I think that'd be a really good summer film. And then beyond that, I am very happy to say I have no idea. I plan on taking a little bit of a break. I did pitch a possible. Everybody knows my favorite film is The Living Wake. Somebody involved with that movie. I'm not going to throw names out there, make anybody feel awkward. But I did pitch a premise to a movie for someone involved with The Living Wake, and if they have expressed interest, and if that moves forward from interest to commitment, I will be breaking my expected hiatus and doing something much sooner than later. But other than that, Don't Push That will be summer 2026, and I'm trying not to think about anything until the timing feels right after that.
And then Cecily, any future projects, any more music, anything you got coming up?
Oh yeah,
The music video for Exposed, her original
absolutely.
song
So
Exposed, that'll
right
be coming out. Sorry, I jumped in, Cecily.
you play, yeah, yeah. So I actually do have a song that will be a part of this. Is also in a mixture with Exposed. So I have a song that's going to be entitled Exposed as well. And the video that Durden Godfrey shot, maybe we did it like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago now. It'll be released
Hmm.
along with the movie. It'll either be the day of, or maybe a couple days later, or maybe just a week after the movie. Still trying to plan it all out. But me and Durden both have like things that are like just constantly going on. And then, we had the premiere for the Christmas movie in about 2 weeks as well. It's a lot. It's busy. It's very busy, but I do have new music with that, and I also have new music that'll be coming out for the new year. But right now, the focus is the promotion and the rollouts for the current films right now. So that's what I'm mainly focused on for the rest of the year, and just gearing up for next year and whatever may come. You just don't know. You just don't know. So I'm just open. But right now, the focus is the movies and music that goes along with the movies. So.
Okay, awesome. Anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up? Anything you wanted to ask me, or just anything you wanted to throw out there?
Yeah, I want to, but I know we talked about Claire. I also want to give a shout out to Dahlia. She played the best alcoholic that I've ever seen on screen. I want to give a shout out to Jason Washington for being an absolute creep, so much so that my wife is afraid of him. Um, I want to give a shout out to my wife for being one of the coolest wives that exists in the history of wives, for not only allowing me to do a movie like this, but to be, well, maybe it was in her best interest to be right
She
there
is.
with me. I
She's
don't know, but she was right there with me the whole time. So that, and I could not have done it, literally could not have done it without her blessing and without her help. Um, Try to think who else was all the Royal, Melina, um, everybody involved with the movie. In every movie, I appreciate them. Again, trying to see humans, not ones and zeros. And James, I appreciate your
right.
constant support in the projects that we're doing, all the way back to Kill. And again, I applaud you for keeping your channel going and the consistency there. Um, yeah, that's and praise God. Ronnie. I'm sorry, Ronnie in Exposed too. That's the other main character for Ronnie and Dominic. Hell yeah, yeah. Ronnie and Dominic are great in everything. So appreciate that. I did not want to forget anybody. If I did, I'm sorry. It's late. It's early.
Thank you again so much, James, for having me today. Like, I'm very appreciative. Like, I really enjoy your work, and thank you again for, like, all your previous reviews and everything. Like, hats off to you, for keep going and just being who you are. I appreciate that. And the infamous Durden Godfrey, thank you again for just all that you do. I know you are a very, very busy man doing what you do, and I'm really happy to be a part of every single project that I have been and whatever's in the future. Like, I'm just really thankful. And to the audience, again, be sure to watch Exposed, October the 28th. Tubi.
Awesome. I think that just about does it. Thank you guys again for coming on. I really appreciate it. Everyone watching, be sure to check out Exposed. Like they said, it drops on Tubi October 28th, which will be past by the time you see this full interview. And also be sure to check out Durden's other movies. All of those are also streaming on Tubi. I've done reviews for pretty much all of them. So, yeah, that about does it. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you later.
Thank you, sir.
I'm so sorry. Miss me.